Hello, my name is Casey Mayer, and this is my presentation on South Korea's Act on Special Education for Persons with Disabilities. What is this law? This is a South Korean law which mandates the right and implementation of education for disabled persons and people with special education needs at the state and local level. Modern general education in South Korea began immediately after the Korean War in 1950. However, the Special Education Promotion Act, the first special education law, was not mandated until 1977, approximately 25 years after the 1949 Korean education law was enacted. This demonstrates South Korea's rather short legal history of special education and the subsequent need and changes made to the current law addressed in this presentation. The law was developed and amended further in 2008 as flaws in the special education system were found. Although the Special Education Act for Persons with Disabilities contributed to establishing the South Korean special education system, the law was criticized for providing limited legal evidence supporting the entire school-age groups of students and practicing educational accountability. For example, the Special Education Act for Persons with Disabilities mainly focused on elementary and secondary schools rather than early childhood or post-secondary support. In addition, it included no specific roles of the federal and local governments in providing an integrated educational environment. Effects on school. The law affects schools by how they serve disabled students with special education needs. Because of this law, schools are being required and upheld to not discriminate against a student with special needs, such as refusing admission, providing special educational services to students in need, and carrying out and facilitating the appropriate procedures outlined in the law for special education intake and execution. Effects on teaching. This law affects teaching by requiring not just special education teachers, but also general education teachers to facilitate inclusive learning settings and receive training on how to be aware and appropriately handle situations and circumstances in the realm of special education. Special education awareness training also allows teachers to be open-minded in how they deal with special needs situations and circumstances in their classroom, allowing for a healthier and more harmonious teaching experience for both teacher, student, and the class as a whole. Effects on student learning. This law affects student learning by safeguarding disabled and special needs students from discrimination based on their disability, special needs, or IEP, and giving them the aimed and still growing opportunity to learn in an inclusive learning environment. Students with disabilities or special needs also have access to more resources and services tailored to their specific needs more than any other time in South Korean history. The strengths of this law are as follows. Number 1, addressing special education as a human right. Number 2, more public access to special education resources and services. And number 3, the implementation of 5-year plans. The weaknesses are as follows. Number 1, inclusion. Number 2, disability awareness. Number 3, special education teacher preparation and curriculum. Number 4, defining disabilities and special needs. Current perspectives. For inclusion, in 2012, about 70.7% of students eligible for special education services attended general schools. In 2021, about 72% of students with disabilities eligible for special education in South Korea attended general schools. In general schools, the percentage of students in special education classrooms was 52% in 2012 and increased to 55% in 2021. By contrast, the percentage of students in inclusion classrooms decreased from 18.4% in 2012 to 16.8% in 2021. As for disability awareness, misunderstandings of or stigmas associated with individuals with disabilities have been a concern in South Korea. In some cases, although parents have known that their children with disabilities were experiencing unfair educational opportunities, they have accepted the situation rather than advocated for their children because they thought nothing could be done. Number 3, special education teacher preparation. Although laws in teacher preparation have contributed to strengthening the professionalism of in-service special education teachers, there has still been relatively limited guidance on how to improve the professionalism of pre-service special education teachers. Developing a high-quality special education curriculum has also been an ongoing issue in South Korea, and many teachers and parents of students with disabilities have requested to engage in the inclusive school curriculum. Number 4, defining disabilities and special needs. Several educators have criticized this law, claiming that its definitions of who are eligible for special education services are still too unclear, and that in terms of educational policy in schools, several related terms are inconsistently used. Thank you for listening to my presentation.